Hey, what's up guys? My name is Lauren Hardy. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We are in the middle of a 5-episode series of the real estate market cycles. I just reviewed buyer's market phase 1 and the characteristics and how you invest. If you missed that video, please make sure you check it out. I'll put the link below. Next, I'm going to get into what buyer's market phase 2 is. This is the second phase of the real estate market cycle. Some people will call this quadrant 2. I like to call it buyer's market phase 2. Now, hopefully right now you positioned yourself as a smart, educated investor and you are a virtual investor with a virtual investing mindset. So you are able to capitalize and move to an appropriate market where you are going to find a lot of opportunity in the next phase of the real estate market cycle. Hopefully you found a territory with a good economic outlook. The local leadership is strong and there is an active plan to bring jobs back to this local area, bringing more people and raising demand of housing. Once jobs are created in this city, it is going to absolutely increase demand for housing and prices are going to tick right back up. So hopefully you positioned yourself well. Make sure you listen up because this is a very, very important stage of the real estate market cycle. I'm going to review first what the characteristics are of buyer's market phase 2. I'm going to teach you how to invest in this phase. And I'm also going to contextualize this again to just bring an example to your mind so you really understand this cycle, what it looks like, what it felt like for me in my career. Now, before we get started, I really hope you guys like this series. If you do, make sure you subscribe to my channel because you are going to be getting episodes like this every single day. So first, let's get into the characteristics of buyer's market phase 2. In this phase, we notice that new jobs are created. The unemployment rate is going to start going down, and this is going to bring more people to this area who are going to demand housing. The market is going to start to absorb its excess supply, and rents are going to start increasing as well. You're going to notice that days on market is going to start going down for properties now. Houses are not going to sit on the market as long and they're going to be easier to sell. And you're going to see real estate values go up. So people who own homes are going to start seeing appreciation in their homes. You're also going to see that there's going to be less foreclosures left. Investors are going to start snatching them up. There's going to be much less distressed inventory on the market. You're going to notice that there's little to no construction going on right now as far as new construction goes. And that's because the builders and the developers, they either went bankrupt in the last phase of the cycle or they're just not into the speculation game at this point. This is a time where the average household size is going to start decreasing. That means that, adult children aren't living with mom and dad anymore. They're able to afford their own apartments or their own houses. Overall, it's a better time for families. If this city has a local aggressive plan to bring back jobs, you are going to see that people are going to start migrating back to this area. And if you are an investor at this time, this is an amazing opportunity. This is where the money is made. When market prices crashed, that was when a lot of people left and didn't want to buy real estate. But that's when you want to get in because prices are at its lowest. You want to get in at the tail end of phase 1 and the beginning of phase 2. That is that sweet spot where prices have bottomed out, but you are seeing a trend that values are starting to increase. The economic outlook is looking better. This is an amazing opportunity. So in this stage, strong demand isn't quite there yet. So you are able to buy properties at a discount still. There's still not a ton of competition, and you really don't want to overly haggle prices. You already are getting the property at a pretty significant discount if you're buying right, as long as it makes sense for your investment strategy. This is also a time where you're going to have a lot of naysayers still. You are going to have, friends and family probably tell you that, real estate's not a great investment and real estate is dead. But again, remember, you're a smart, sophisticated investor and you understand market cycles. So you are excited right now. So how do you invest in buyer's market phase 2? If you are a sophisticated investor, you are buying anything that you can get your hands on as long as it makes financial sense. Every investor has different underwriting guidelines, but a common guideline I've heard from other investors would be 10% cash on cash return. If you can, focus on buy and hold, because you are buying at a time where your property will appreciate during the whole time. So find a way to buy properties where you can buy and hold, and find yourself in a market where you can afford properties to buy and hold. So next, let's go and contextualize this for you. The real life example of buyer's market phase 2 for me. Let me tell you, did I mess this phase up? I did. Again, I was very new to real estate investing, so I really didn't see the opportunity that was waved right in front of my face. This was like 2012 to 2015. And I did not have enough real estate investing experience, and I had not lived through any real estate market cycles. I mean, I probably lived through them, yeah, but I was a child. So I didn't really have that perspective that prices would go up. So the biggest thing that I did wrong at this time was I haggled on prices. I would haggle sellers and I would lose out on deals all the time because there was always a more sophisticated investor who was willing to pay what the seller wanted, where I was still haggling. I still remember I wanted a 15% cash on cash return when there were a lot of investors that were willing to take 10%. And gosh, I really screwed that one up. I wish I knew more, and now like in hindsight, I would have absolutely, taken those deals that were right in front of me, and I'd probably be a lot richer right now if I did. When I look back at why I made those decisions, the first thing that comes to mind is I wasn't virtual yet. So I was still in a market that was actually pretty high priced compared to the rest of the country. So, at that time, single family homes were going for like $400,000 in California, and that was still a lot of money to come up with. I think if I would have put myself in a different market where like the average house price was maybe $130,000, it wouldn't have been as scary. And I would have found a way to buy those and kept them as rentals. The other thing is I aligned myself with a mentor who was local in my market, and he was only flipping homes. He was a great mentor, but he was a one-trick pony. This is all he was doing. And I aligned myself with this mentor, that was it. If I would have aligned myself, maybe got different mentors that were doing different things, I think I would have had more opportunities kind of going through my head, and I would have learned that there are other ways to capitalize in this phase. So if I were to do it again, I would have found a mentor that was in an out-of-state market where it was cheaper and they were buying and holding. Because if I aligned myself with that mentor in that coaching program, I probably would have been able to figure out how to come up with the money to buy property and keep them as rentals. I think it is important to be, kind of reflective and look back at like what you did wrong so you can learn from your mistakes. And I absolutely wish that I went virtual sooner. I wish I went virtual around the time I actually got into the business, because I think I would have found a market where the house prices were just a little bit lower, so I was more comfortable, where it made more sense to buy and hold, where it was just a little bit easier because prices weren't quite as high. I'd be able to wrap my head around how I could finance those properties. If I would have done that, I would have definitely, been a lot richer by now. But, in 2013, I didn't have that perspective. I hadn't lived through, the 4 phases yet as a, functioning investor. So all I can say, is in hindsight, I would have done things differently. But that's why you've got this episode, because you're going to learn from all my mistakes. So next, we are going to move on to the next phase of the real estate market cycle. This is very exciting. We are now going to seller's market phase 1. So make sure you keep listening. If you like this video, please make sure you subscribe to this channel. And if going virtual interests you, or if you want to take on a more virtual mindset in your investing career, I want to help you. Go to www.virtualinvestingmastery.com and fill out an application today. I have a ton of students that are absolutely killing it in their virtual markets, and I want to see the same for you. So make sure you fill out an application today. And again, thank you so much for listening to this. Make sure you listen to the next one because we're not done yet.